Most of what people do is what we're doing right now. Most of what people do is sit down.
But is that because they don't feel like running around? Because some people, like people who exercise, generally you have to put in a little bit of effort to make yourself go exercise. But a lot of people who are overweight and sick don't have enough energy to do that.
I don't know about that. Some of them maybe, but I think some of them just don't have discipline. There's an issue with that as well. There's also an issue with momentum. You're not used to doing it. It's not a part of your life. It's not something that you're accustomed to, pushing yourself. There's been many days where I didn't want to work out. I just didn't feel like I had the energy, and I just forced myself. And I think there's very few people out there that know how to force themselves. That's a learned, that's a learned skill. It's that kind of discipline and focus. You have to have like real rigid requirements of yourself where you don't allow yourself to back out of things and you don't allow yourself to slack off. And I don't think people put those kind of requirements on themselves as if it's it is a daily principle of life, like what you must get done. You know, you must brush your teeth, you must exercise for 45 minutes. And if you did that, I think you'd be healthier and happier, and your body would perform more smoothly. And if you require your body to do things like that, I think it rises to the occasion. There are very few people that have that kind of discipline. So because of that, they come up with excuses. And excuses are a giant part of the problem. It's not simply a physical health issue. There's also mental aspects of it, and discipline's a big one. I just know way too many people who are weak mentally. And I can't just chalk it off to only, you know, their physical, the way they physically feel, because I felt like shit 100 times, and then I worked out, and then I felt way better.
Yeah,
it's just a fact of life. That's real. You know, you just gotta. And people don't know how to do that. And it's not. And if you're used to doing this, get in your car, sit down, drive to the office, sit down, go to the lunch, sit down. You know, go to the board meeting, sit down. Get in your car on the way home, sit down. Get home in front of the TV, sit down. Then go to the gym, fuck off. They don't have any energy. You know, their body's not, their body's like, I don't have it in me to do this. And I don't believe that. I think it's a lot of it is the mindset.
So I partly agree with that, but because, and I know I was a very sick individual.
You're in a different case. You have real, legitimate, diagnosed physical issues. This is a very different thing. I mean, you have a severe autoimmune disorder. I mean, listen, you get your hip replaced when you're fucking 17.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You don't hear that. This is a different. I'm talking about the average fat fuck who's just sitting around being lazy. That's really what it is. It's like, I'm sure a lot of it is diet, and a lot of that diet affects their physical health. But there's been many people that have just put their foot down and said, enough. I'm going to change my life. And they don't take any excuses, and they feel way better. Diet is most certainly a part of that, but there's also a discipline aspect, and these things are not mutually exclusive. They exist together. They're all together, and they work symbiotically. The way your mindset affects the choices you make with your diet, and the mindset also affects the choices you make in terms of like whether or not you require yourself to exercise. And I think these are critical aspects that people like to gloss over, or they like to make excuses about. And they get very angry if you don't accept those excuses. And that's a sign that they're trying to enforce this standard and this idea and push it on you and give themselves an excuse. And it's one of the reasons why they get angry. It's one thing if someone has a legit physical issue like you do, but there's a lot of people who do not. They just have poor diet choices, they have a sedentary lifestyle, and they have the momentum of this sedentary lifestyle that's holding them back. They're accustomed to being lazy. He just didn't do it.
No, I don't believe that.
But when you say he didn't have enough energy to exercise, did he walk around?
Well, yeah, but you can drag yourself through things.
And you can drag yourself through an exercise routine. You can. Oh, you most certainly can. You most certainly can. You don't have to do a lot. You just have to do something. You walk up hills. You jump a little rope. You take a little tiny kettlebell. You do a couple cleans and presses. You do a few push-ups. You do a few sit-ups. You get your blood pumping. You're moving. You're alive. You're exercising. To say you don't have enough energy to exercise, that's crazy. Can you walk to the refrigerator? Then you can exercise. I'm not saying that you have to run marathons, You can exercise, and everyone should fucking exercise.
I agree. Everyone should exercise.
But don't ever say, these people are so crazy. They want you to believe, I don't have the energy to exercise. God damn it. Everyone does. If you're
I
alive,
don't know.
you can exercise.
I believe that. He's exercising now.
Sure, he's got less weight on his body. He feels better.
And he has energy.
That's wonderful. He could have exercised then, too. He would have felt shittier, for sure. Wouldn't have felt as good as he's feeling now. But to give people this excuse, I don't have the energy to exercise, that is crazy to say. Can you walk to the fucking refrigerator? Yes. Well, you can exercise. You don't have to do anything crazy. Just walk around the block. There's 80-year-old ladies who take yoga with me. They're fucking really old, and they're in there. They're going after it. They could easily say, I don't have the energy to do that. But they don't. It's a mental attitude. They make a decision.
I agree. Like, there's a lot of it's discipline. You're going to get people who just won't exercise.
You don't have to kill yourself. You don't have to go to a CrossFit class and try to do the workout of the day. You don't have to go nuts and do clean and presses with 150 pounds. You don't have to do that. But you have to do something. Just get your blood moving. Your body has requirements. It wants to move. It really does. And when it does, you feel better. But people like to give themselves this excuse. I do not have the energy to do this. Whatever. If you decide that, that's true. But if you watch a motivational video, there's 100 of them on YouTube, thousands even. You go watch one, you'll get fired up. You're like, fuck it, I'm going to jump some rope. You jump some rope, you do something. Just do some push-ups, do something, do some bodyweight squats. You'll feel better. But it's also like learning that and having that as a part of your daily life. It has to be, again, I'm not talking about someone like you who's in the throes of this autoimmune disorder where you're getting your hip replaced at 17. I'm not talking about someone with like serious degenerative illness. I'm talking about just a regular person who's overweight. You can do it. There's a lady who's like 450 pounds that takes yoga with me. She's enormous. She's in there. She's probably really embarrassing. Very hard to do.
Yeah.
And she's in there. Anyone could do it. We can do it. And again, I'm not saying do what Michael Phelps does. I'm just saying just do something. Gotta do something. We have fucked up lifestyles. The lifestyles that people have are just, the human body is not designed to sit down all day, and it's certainly not designed to be stuck in traffic and be in an office and just be, fluorescent lights and just sitting there in front of a fucking computer monitor watching your soul get sucked through the LCD screen. It's crazy that most men live lives of quiet desperation. It's one of my favorite quotes ever because it's true. And I've been that guy. You're just in this world where you just can't wait to just run away.
And how do people get stuck there? How do you think they get stuck there?
Bills.
Bills? Like financial bills?
Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. Bills and commitment. You have an apartment you have to pay for. You have a car you leased. You have a wife that you have to feed. You have a child you have to raise. You have your mortgage. You have your this. You have your that. And that's where it all comes from. Well, the opportunity takes place usually when you're young and you don't have any responsibility. That's when you have your options. Well, your options are severely limited the more you gather responsibilities. Like, if I had to, as a 51-year-old father of 3, married man, pays taxes, has a house and a mortgage and a business and all that jazz, if I had to quit everything now and struggle the way I struggled as a stand-up comedian, it would never work. But the only way I could be this person now is if I took that chance when I was 21, when I was dead broke and had my cars repossessed and all that stuff. That's the only way you ever get where you want to go. You have to take a path that's dangerous, and most people want to take the safe path. The safe path leaves you stuck in quiet desperation. Almost every time. It's hell. It's hell. You're selling insurance or some other shit that you care zero about. The way you can change is you have to put aside enough money to give yourself a window. And then you have to have a plan. And you have to spend all your waking hours outside of whatever shit job you do planning your escape. And you have to come to the realization very clearly that you fucked up and you got yourself stuck. So whatever you're doing, you have to do it like your life depends on it. And whether it is you're trying to be an author and if you're gonna try to be an author and you're working 8 hours a day plus commuting plus family responsibilities or whatever else you have, whatever time that you have to attack like you're trying to save the world. You're trying to save your life. You don't want to drown. That 1.5 hours a day that you have to write, God damn, you better be caffeinated and motivated. You got to go. You got to get after it, and you got to have discipline. Most people don't have those things. Most people don't understand what it's like to really go for something, and to know that the consequences of not doing that are horrific.
Then you're desperate and you're quiet. But I do think there is something to be said for fate and circumstance.
Sure.
And I always write, I mean, people in these military environments that I write about and in these intelligence world environments, fate and circumstance plays a big part because they too can even get complacent, you know? Mm-hmm. But when your life is on the line, right? A lot of times they have these experiences where they're like, I must change. And that's what I find really interesting in people. You know?
Sure. Desperation.